There were 2, if not 3 witnesses on the day who knew Martin Bryant for many years who said he was not the killer. They were never allowed to attend any inquests and bullshit officialdom that went around the case. And it took people a long while to talk about it because, one, when you find out your government is capable of setting up that kind of violence on innocent people, it's fucking depressing. Nobody wants to hear it. And people who have jobs, who work in the government, or even who have corporate jobs, it's hard to make a man understand, or a woman understand something when their salary depends on them not understanding it. People need to look at themselves, their unwillingness to look at things. It must be so hard. Soon Australia is going to be like, you need to get your vaccinations to get your new PIN number for your ATM card. People have no idea what is coming. And I have no idea either, but I know it's not good because they're taking the guns. And they're practicing martial law. And if you believe some people, they are setting up Walmarts that can be rapidly turned into prisons. This all sounds absolutely fucking insane, doesn't it? Yes, it does. In about 2001, I was working at a radio station in Melbourne, Victoria, volunteering, an corporate unsponsored radio station. So we were supposed to have free speech. And I got a pamphlet about this couple of people coming to speak about the Port Arthur massacre. Wendy Skerr, the first nurse on the scene, who sat there for 5 hours while they waited for the police and ambulances, whilst people's brains dripped into bowls of chips in front of them. She sat there and held the hands of husbands whose wives had had their heads blown off, or vice versa. I was very interested just to hear the story of one brave woman who knew how to look after people after such a disgusting crime. So I went along to hear her speak in 2001 at a bar in Little Collins or Little Burke Street in Melbourne. And when I got there, there were big signs on the door saying, "Meeting cancelled, please disperse." And there was many people, maybe 50, maybe 100, outside the hotel, not allowed in. And I said, "What's this about?" I just went looking around and I found this older looking gentleman who looked sweet. And they've cancelled the event because there's no free speech in Australia anymore. I said, "Who's cancelled it?" He said, "The police have told the bar that they can't host the event." But I said to this guy, "Look, I do a radio show and I'd like to interview you." And he said, "Well, I've got a book about it, so come with me." I went with him to his car to get one of his books, and this big brick shithouse of a woman stepped in front of me wearing all black and took a photo of me with a camera that looked like you could focus on the moon. I said to him, "Oh, you're famous." And he said, "No, that's ASIO." As we walked away, he said, "That's ASIO, they're just letting you know that they've got you on file." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And he was like, "Oh, if it was the 70s, they'd be across the street filming you, taking photos through the blinds, like all those 70s TV shows. But these days," he said, "they film you up front so that you know you're on their watch." And I was like, "For what?" And he was like, "Well, this event wasn't carried out by Martin Bryant." And I was like, "What? What?" I couldn't believe it. I spoke to him for a little while, maybe 15, 20 minutes, took his DVD, his book, another book from Dale someone, which was, and also A Gunsmith's Guide to Port Arthur, another really interesting book. And I went home and I spent the next few weeks really combing through it and realizing, far out, it wasn't done by Martin Bryant. Over the years since then, it's been about 17, 18 years since then, I've found more and more and more evidence.